Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.
Hello, I'm Lori Steiner. Happy Valentine's Day and welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, the doctor is in. We'll find out facts about important health information. It's Valentine's Day. We'll share why you're never too old for romance. Then we'll help you fall in love with your smile. We'll introduce you to a celebrated physician who discovered a new way of healing in his Act 3. And a traumatic loss can leave you reeling, emotionally and financially. We'll offer options to help you recover.
It's time to get geoing, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. Did you know someone has a stroke every 40 seconds? And every 4 minutes someone dies as a result of a stroke. Dr. Rocco Sioka is here today to talk about one area in your body that can trigger a stroke and how to reduce your risk. Dr. Sioka is the Director of Vascular Surgery at Metro Health. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now you say strokes can actually be prevented, really?
Yes, that's very true. I mean, many strokes are secondary to certain risk factors. Some of them we can control, one of them we can't, which is age. But the other risk factors we can very much control. First and foremost is smoking. Second is high blood pressure. Third is diabetes, which obviously can't be cured but can be controlled. And the last is high cholesterol.
Okay, and you said age, which you can't control. Is there a particular age where the risk increases?
Well, to some extent, that yes. We tend to think of people over 60, although at Metro Health we see many patients who are a good deal younger than that, in their 50s.
Oh, dear.
And certainly someone who's 50 to 55 with the associated risk factors, one should be concerned about the potential for stroke and coronary artery disease and peripheral vascular disease.
Okay, so if you haven't addressed those factors, these plaque blockages, right? That's really what's causing the stroke. But we're focusing on a particular kind for today, and that's one that is in the carotid artery.
Right. There's a myriad of reasons that people can have a stroke, but we do know that 20 to 30% of strokes that we see are secondary to blockages in the carotid artery, and I think there's a graphic of that. The carotid artery is the main blood flow to the brain, and right where the blood vessel bifurcates, and there's again a graphic of that, plaque can develop.
Okay.
And in addition to narrowing the blood flow to the brain, more importantly what can happen is little bits and pieces of that plaque can break off and can travel up into the brain, and that's where the damage is done. So
how do we find out if there is such a blockage?
Right. Well, again, history and physical exam is important, and doctors, again, clue into the risk factors that we've just discussed. On physical exam, you can actually listen to the neck, and I just did it fairly just a few minutes ago in clinic, and you can hear sound. That sound is called a bruit. It's secondary to the turbulence from that blockage.
Oh, all right.
But then the other good news is we have a very good non-invasive test, an ultrasound, which can really give us very good and accurate images as to whether or not there's a significant blockage.
Okay, but what if there is a blockage?
Right.
Then what can you do?
So if the blockage is very significant, and statistics have shown that a blockage greater than 70% is what we do tend to worry about. First and foremost, we modify the risks. So we sit down and say, listen, you got to stop smoking, you got to control your blood pressure, you should be on an aspirin or an antiplatelet agent, you should control your cholesterol, you should get into a good exercise program and diet. If, in addition, particularly if the patient is a good surgical risk, then some consideration for an operative intervention should be discussed, and that operation is called a carotid endarterectomy.
Okay, we got a picture of, oh, so you go in, kind of clean out that plaque and
we do.
Open up the artery
we make
again.
an incision in the neck, and we dissect the artery out. The artery is not very deep in the neck. We tend to do this, I do this under a general anesthetic, and we actually open up the artery, clean it out, and we patch it patch it. And
you're good to go for how long?
well, you know, again, statistics show that patients who have a successful operation do exceedingly well, and their stroke risk drops dramatically for the rest of their life.
Oh,
At least
fantastic.
as it pertains to that artery. We obviously follow the other artery. There are two.
Right.
But patients tend to do quite well, and the outcomes, particularly associated with good risk modification, are very, very good.
That's great. It's good to know that this incredible surgery is an option for treatment, but as Dr. Sioka recommends, do all you can to decrease your risk of stroke so it doesn't need to be an option. And if you're at risk, be sure to be screened. My thanks to Dr. Sioka for joining us today. Thanks.
To learn more, call Metro Health at 216-778-7800 or visit their website, www.metrohealth.org. Next, you're never too old for Valentine's Day. But first, roses are red, violets are blue, chocolates are sweet, and cards are too. So many gifts a Valentine can bestow, but many men forget to plan to do so. Just what percentage forget to prepare? We'll tally the total, and soon we will share.
Hilltop Village Apartments is retirement living at its best. Residents enjoy a wide variety of activities and living services with all large first-floor apartments, private screened-in patios with beautiful park views, daily dining room meals, free laundry facilities, 24-hour staff, and so much more. Enjoy safe, comfortable independence at a very affordable price. Call today for a tour and learn how you can get your first month's rent free. Hilltop Village Apartments, retirement living at its best.
In the good old US of A, 64% of men don't make advance plans for Valentine's Day. But once the day draws near, flowers are ordered for their loved one so dear. Over 3 days, 110 million roses are sold and delivered, meaning Cupid has made his mark with arrows from his quiver.
You've been married forever, or so it seems. You've been through good and bad, ups and downs. Do you really have to still make an effort on Valentine's Day? Doesn't your mate already know they matter? Relationship coach Kathy Dawson is here to tell us why you're never too old for Valentine's Day and to give us some easy-to-use ideas to share the love. So welcome back to the show.
Valentine's
Oh,
Day,
thank you. We both got a red on for Valentine's Day. So. Yeah, I mean, with your mate, you're comfortable. Isn't that just enough?
Oh, I know. No, it isn't, actually. What happens after a while of being married is we tend to do what's called sleepwalking. We're kind of in a marital or relationship coma. And so this wonderful holiday comes along, and some people are like, ugh, wake me when it's over, right? But it's really important to even do small gestures just to let the person know he or she matters, because that's the definition of romance, is you matter to me.
All right.
So I brought a few simple things that you can do on the day of Valentine's Day.
We're going to wake up and say, yes, you really matter. So we're going to start. We've got a whole bunch of ideas, it looks like here. So what's the first one?
Okay, the first one is this bag of Hershey's
so let me
Kisses.
hold up these Hershey's Kisses.
You know, they don't
I might
cost
steal some,
much. Okay, go right ahead. So what you do is you take a few and you make a trail from one point in the house to another point. Say your partner loves coffee, so you make it to the coffee maker, and you put a little note there that says, I kiss the ground you walk on.
Oh.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's a little corny, but still fun. If it's something you've never done, the whole point here is get out of your comfort zone. Right?
That's a very cute idea.
I love that idea.
All right, so you have a second idea here that comes along with some non-alcoholic, right?
Non-alcoholic, yes, sparkling juice. Now this takes a little preparation and a little bit of role playing. So, and I actually did this for my husband Dick one day. I put this in the trunk with these paper cups, and we're driving along, and after a little while I said, oh my gosh, you gotta pull over. He says, what do you mean I gotta pull over? I said, just pull over right now, pull over. Where am I gonna pull over? Pull over there in the driveway, just pull over. So he's like, what's wrong? And so I jump out of the car, I go into the trunk where I've packed this, I pull this out, I put it back into the car, I sit with him, I pop this or open up the cork. That's not a cork, it's a screw, screw thing. And I poured us a cup of juice and I said, here's to us, happy Valentine's Day.
Oh.
I mean, he's gonna think you're a little nuts, you know, but that's all right. He or she, I should say.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that sounds fun. How about a FedEx envelope? What in the world? That's business.
I love this. Okay, so you get this in the mail. Go ahead and open it and read it out loud.
It says, Because my love for you can't wait.
Don't you love that?
Yes.
I think that's so cute.
All right. Oh, we have one more thing. No, a lottery ticket. Okay, so
Yes.
lottery. So
right.
I got it, right?
Okay, wait.
I'm so glad you took a chance on me.
Very good. Wrong, but good. Okay, so what this is you say, you know, when I found you, I hit the jackpot.
Oh, of course.
Don't you know this?
Yes.
Just be creative. You want it so that your partner looks at you and says, who are you? Okay?
I don't know you, and maybe that's a good thing because you're starting kind of.
You want to make memories together.
Right.
So Valentine's Day doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It doesn't have to take a lot of time.
Okay, balloons.
Balloons. Okay.
Last thing.
Another thing I did for Dick. I blew about 20 of these up, and our kids were watching me, and I wrote down what I loved most about him, and they stuffed them in there, okay? Blew them up. I got a key for his car. I went to his work, and I shoved him in his car. I put a needle on his windshield, and he couldn't come home until he popped each balloon to figure out all the reasons why I loved him.
How nice.
Yes.
These are excellent ideas.
Thank you.
Oh, gosh. So no matter how long you and your mate have been in love, showing you care never gets old. Use one of these ideas of Kathy's to say Happy Valentine's Day to your partner. And for more romance relationship help, use the information that's coming up next. My thanks to Coach Kathy for calling some winning romantic plays today.
Thank you.
For more information, call Relationship Coach Kathy Dawson at 216-536-8964 or log on to www.kathythecoach.com. Next, show your smile a little love. Looking for places to go? Things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. Mistakes with your money can cost you. To avoid failure with your finances, plan to attend a complimentary seminar at the Lineweaver Financial Group in Valley View. The event will take place Tuesday, February 16th at 1 p.m. and Thursday, February 18th at 6 p.m. To reserve your seat, call 1-888-313-4009.
If thinking about the love of your life brings a smile to your face, it may also mean you want to pucker up this Valentine's Day. So you got to do a little lipstick. But before you do, read my lips. In order to increase your grin's greatness, first you may need to look at your lips. Dentist Steve Marsh is here to pay more than lip service to this problem. So what do our lips have to do with our teeth?
Well, you know, Lori, as you and most of the women in the audience know, the lips are really a frame for the mouth. And like a picture, if you have a picture, a beautiful picture, if you don't have beautiful frame, it changes the look of the picture. So this is a patient of mine, and again, you can see beautiful lips, and it certainly enhances it. Imagine if those teeth looked like that and the lips were dry or up or down, it would be a very different look. So we do pay attention to the lips, and sometimes that affects how we do our dentistry.
Okay, so you have to make sure the lips look good, and what if, you know, it's really not quite lining up with the smile?
Well, sometimes one of the biggest problems we have is sometimes people have a high lip line. You'll see people smiling. It's what's called a gummy smile.
Yeah.
So this is a patient that we took care of, and she's actually happens to be an attorney as well, Lori.
Okay.
And she had this gummy smile her whole life. She came to me in her 50s. She also didn't like the color disparity in her teeth and also wanted them reshaped and recolored. So we looked at different options, and what we did, Lori, was in the office we have a laser. It's called a diode laser, and we did a, if you will, gum lift. And the way we do it, very gently, a little numbing agent, and we can actually lift it. And I equate it to taking a window shade and lifting it up and saying, oh, my window's bigger. So we did that with some porcelain veneers and to give her that absolutely stunning smile. Again, the lips framed it.
Right. You mentioned there's something called a smile line. So what does that mean?
Well, the best way I can demonstrate is with a picture. But what we do in cosmetic dentistry is we want the lower lip line to go along with the upper teeth. So if you were to draw a line around the upper teeth, the front two teeth are longer, the next two are stepped up a little, and we want a smile line. And the eye sees it, it's normal if it goes along the lower lip line. So that's what we do in cosmetic dentistry, looking for an ideal smile. So the woman that you first saw with that beautiful lip formation, that's what her teeth looked like when she first came in. So we did porcelain veneers across the front. We did 8 porcelain veneers. We lengthened it, and where she brought up her lower lip, you can now see what we call a smile line. We call that in harmony, and that's very important when you're doing cosmetic dentistry or any dentistry, to have harmony between the upper teeth and the lower lip.
Okay, and you also say that lips can look their age. So what do you mean by that?
Well, you wouldn't, not you, but we all know that as we mature, things drop, and that also happens with the lip. We lose some of the elasticity, and so sometimes what will happen is as that lip drops, it covers more of the upper teeth and exposes more of the lower. So when you're out to dinner with friends, you may see that more. So here's a patient of mine. He came in, his girlfriend brought him in, and he didn't show his teeth. So we did two things with him. Eventually, you'll see, we did these teeth, and he was missing some. We did implants. We've done veneers and crowns on those teeth to give him that beautiful smile. And now when he smiles, you see he looks like he has teeth again.
Wow.
But again, that dropping of the upper lip had covered his upper teeth, so we gave him some length.
So you don't actually need a lip lift.
No, and let's talk about that. So here's a woman, she showed a lot of her upper lip. She's exactly my age. But what happened was her granddaughter, new daughter-in-law, who happens to be a dentist, said to her mother-in-law, I don't like the way your lower teeth, why don't you talk to your dentist about doing something? So again, she's now showing much more of her lower teeth, so we reshaped those teeth non-orthodontically, just reshaped them and put 4 porcelain veneers on, and now when she smiles and when you talk, as you and I are talking, she shows a lot more teeth, but now she's proud of her smile, and even her daughter-in-law is proud of her smile.
Well, that's important, so great tips. Now, our lips have not been sealed when it came to the secret of a beautiful smile. So open up your heart and your mouth and give yourself a gift this Valentine's Day. Fall in love with your smile. For help, give Steve a call. His number's next.
See what Dr. Stephen Marsh can do for your smile by calling 440-461-1003 or visit www.clevelandsmiles.com. Next, Physician, Heal Thyself. It's time to get up and go, an exercise segment on golden opportunities.
Hello everybody, it's Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and we're here today to show you how to do a oblique twist, which is going to help us with our obliques, more importantly that love handle area. You ready to go?
I got to get rid of these little
All right, we can do it. Here we go. We're going to start seated. We want our legs bent at about a 45-degree angle and your feet flat on the floor as much as they can be. Make sure we maintain good posture. We're simply going to overlap our hands here, and we're going to try to touch the ground to the left. And then we're going to bring them across and try to touch the ground to the right, okay? We're looking for 12 to 15 repetitions on this one. And remember, the movement's actually going to be in the core, in the trunk, and not in the shoulders. How you feeling?
Oh, I can feel those love handles leaving now.
All right, real quick, you can add a little bit of resistance on this one to make it a little more challenging. Just go ahead, grab your weights at home, and perform the exact same exercise with the exact same movement. All right, 12 to 15, 2 to 3 sets. And now it's your turn to get up and go.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 6105 Parkland Boulevard, Suite 140, Mayfield Heights, Ohio, 44124.
On this day of celebrating love, we welcome Dr. Terry Gordon, who has a heart for saving lives. The retired cardiologist continues his celebrated work of making sure that automated external defibrillators are available in every school everywhere. But his own heart was almost broken when tragedy struck his family. And now, in his Act 3, he's sharing how he and his family not only survived, but have been blessed by this experience in his book, No Storm Lasts Forever. Welcome to the show here.
Thanks for having me.
You're a doctor, you're a scientist, but now you've got this more of a spiritual perspective to life. So tell us about that.
Well, it started years before I realized it. I bumped into Wayne Dyer on a beach in Maui, and that was a purposeful interaction. Little did I know that he was setting the foundation for the springboard from which I would grow. It was June 29th, the year 2009, and my daughter came home from Chicago where she was teaching, and I could tell something was up. And she came into my office and said, you know, Dad, I always thought that the older I got, the more control I assumed over my life, the easier life would become. And she said, it's just not working out that way. And I pulled her up into my arms and I rocked her as I had for 27 years. And I said, you know, sweetie, I think that's the way it's supposed to be. If we are to grow, if we are to mature, if we are to become more enlightened, we must face greater and greater challenges, because it's by overcoming those obstacles that we become more enlightened.
You continue to grow, right.
Continue to grow. And I quoted her from the Kabbalah, the ancient mystical text of Judaism, that says, it's the falls of our life that provide us the energy to propel us to a higher path. It's the falls of our life. And I left her with one final thought that night as I kissed her on the forehead, and I said, you know, sweetie, we really should be grateful for the crap that comes our way.
All right. And you didn't know it, but the very next day you had to really call in all your strength and your belief in this kind of perspective.
I did. It was at 6:40 the next morning that I received the phone call that a parent doesn't want to get. And the grave voice on the other end of the line shared with me that our son Tyler had been involved in a car accident and that he had shattered his neck. And then came the dreaded words, your son's quadriplegic. Well, you worry about those sorts of phone calls, but when you hear the words, you can't imagine the impact. Well, within an hour, I was speeding up to the Cleveland airport to catch an overbooked flight to get to Denver, where they were going to life flight him for emergency surgery. And somehow got on that flight. I was 8th in line, seated next to a window, and now I'm like a caged cat, you know? My mind is just, thoughts are just banging inside my head, and I felt like I was in this tornado. And it was loud, and it was whooshing, and it was dark, and it was dank, and I looked down this tornado, the funnel, and it was just pure blackness. And I remember saying over and over again, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't. And gradually that loud whooshing sound, it started to mute as I became enveloped in this cocoon of white noise. And it became this place of unfathomable peace. But I still was saying, I can't do this, I can't do it. And I won't tell you I heard the words of God, but I heard the voice from deep within when God said, yes, you can. And I said, but I don't have the tools to do this. And God reminded me, Terry, just last night you shared your wisdom with your daughter. You could talk the talk, but now you're going to have to live it.
Yeah.
And I said again, but how do I do this? How do I do this? And God shared with me the most profound thought I've ever had in my life when he said, treat this as if it was something you had chosen. Now,
you wouldn't have chosen that.
Why would I choose something like that? You know, I mean, my first thought was, no, I wouldn't do that. But there are those that believe that we actually choose what we're going to experience in a particular lifetime before we come here, before we come into this incarnation. And that choice is predicated on what our individual spirit needs. And what happened when I started thinking about this, I had this shift in consciousness, a change in the paradigm of thought. And it took me down a totally different path. A path of peace, believe it or not, a path of peace. Not happiness necessarily, but a path of peace.
So you could deal with it, and you could do everything you needed to do to make the best and learn and grow from that experience.
That's the key. That's the key. You know, most of us think when so-called tragedies happen that we're deserving, that we're bad people. We're not. We're not bad people. But if you can learn something from any experience, it's not a negative experience. So there's no such thing as a negative experience, and everything is in perfect order. And if you can go through life and circumstances with that attitude that everything's in perfect order, it's not a mistake. It's so much easier.
Wow. In his book, No Storm Lasts Forever, Dr. Terry Gordon shares his very personal family story and his own steps to accepting and even embracing adversity and learning from it. To read his inspirational account, use the information that's coming up next. My thanks to Dr. Gordon for joining us today.
My pleasure.
You can learn more and order the book by visiting Dr. Gordon's website, www.drterrygordon.com. Next, what to do when the unthinkable happens.
Here at Metro Health, you know you matter when it matters most. Here, we are the city's best at preparing for the world's worst. Here, we are the only verified burn center in Ohio for adults and children. Here, you'll find exceptional clinicians with extraordinary hearts. So the work we do here at Metro Health makes an impact here, out here, and right here. Metro Health, we're here for you, for all of you.
During these cold winter days, driving can become quite treacherous, leading to terrible accidents. People are hurt or could even die. The last thing most people think about is a lawsuit. However, medical bills and car repair can be costly. Worse yet, if a breadwinner has had an accident, how do you cope with not only the emotional loss, but also the financial strain? Here to discuss this important topic is my law partner, Michael Solomon. So talk a little bit about what we're actually addressing here.
Okay, let's say you're driving to work. You're on 271 going to work. A truck cuts in front of you. It's slippery, snowy weather. You lose control of the car. You run into another car, and you're hurt. Person in the other car maybe is hurt. Truck driver's hurt. Everyone's been a little bit of a fender bender.
So the question is, whose fault is it? Who pays for what? How do we get this all sorted out?
Well, it's a little bit like a law school exam. I mean, you were driving to work. Were you driving too fast, considering that it was snowy out? The truck driver, when they cut you off, were they negligent? Should they have looked to see where you were? Were they driving recklessly? And then, you hit the other car. Is the truck driver responsible for the damages to the other car and the passenger? So everyone's pointing fingers at everybody else at whose fault it is and who's liable and that sort of problem.
Yeah, it sounds a lot more complicated when you first start to think about it.
Well, it is, and what happens, usually the police come out there, they do an investigation to see whose fault it is. Maybe the insurance company does one. Even, if someone then hires an attorney, that attorney may start doing an investigation, hire an expert to try to figure out whose fault this whole mess
Sounds like it could take a really long time.
Well, it can. It can take maybe a year or longer. And the trouble is you have to be careful. There's statute of limitations and how long you can before you have to sue somebody. So you can lose it if you let it go too long. And a little bit we're going to talk about that next week on these sort of things, statute of limitations and other sort of legal actions.
All right. A lawsuit won't bring back a loved one or fully compensate you, but it's important to know you have a remedy. These issues are not simple. It can take a lot of time and work. Watch next week for more information, and for help now, give Mike a call. The number's next.
Call Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information or to schedule a speaker for your organization. Or log on to www.ssnplaw.com.
Thanks for joining us. Until next week, please remember to make the most of your golden opportunities.
If you'd like to join our kitchen conversation, visit our website, www.goldenopportunities.tv. Like us on Facebook. Call us at 440-742-GO-TV or email us at kitchen@goldenopportunities.tv. We'd love to hear from you.
Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.